Cheers. Happy Tuesday, or as I like to call it, New Comic Book Day Eve. I'm going to stop myself because I was just about to say what if Eve as well, but we don't have that, unfortunately. It is Halloween week, so next time you see us, we might be in some costumes. I don't know. And sorry for the confusion today as I put the after hours show thumbnail, but it was really failed spec. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. So hopefully if you were waiting for that, you're disappointed. I've also actually just been informed. Oh, we do? Okay. So we have two guests joining us today. And this is going to be exciting. So we're going to start the show. Let's bring out the guest. First up, my amigo, the one and only FaceTime. What's up, man? Face, you are muted.
What's going on, bro?
What's happening, man?
Not too much.
All right. Chilling. So it's just you and me and then the special guests. So we're going to bring them in. First up, we got Mr. Omega Red. You know him from Spec Tales. He was on last week. So this is going to be fun. Let's bring him in. Mr. Jake, what's going on?
Hey, everybody. I'm back 2 weeks in a row. Lucky you.
The same asshole. Jeez. Oh, God.
The same asshole 2 weeks in a row. Man, you guys really lucked out. You must have been desperate.
No, you know what? This is how desperate I was. Our next guest just surprised me. He just showed up. So I'm pumped. It's I consider him my big brother from out west, but it is Mr. Vancouver Comic Junkie. What's up, man?
Oh, shit.
Hey, man. How's it going?
We're not getting anything done tonight. It's just gonna
no. I have huge deadlines for tomorrow too, and I'm not.
Geez. Hey, well, thanks for hopping on, man. This is gonna be fun, dude. Shit, I only have 2 Coronas, so yeah, we're damn okay. So you guys know the topic. Is it failed spec? So today, ladies and gentlemen, we will be talking about certain books, and if they're what Omega Red likes to say, is it really failed or is it just delayed? So we're gonna answer those questions about some of these books. Some of these books got really hot. Some of these books, a lot of people were pushing, a lot of people stacked. So we're going to see where they go. We got 4 opinions. So this is going to be pretty fun. So first up, guys, just got to say hello to a few friends and then we can start the show. But first up, we got Big B Comics, 3 stores, 1 in Niagara, 1 in Barrie, 1 in Hamilton. Well, I already said Niagara. Make sure you guys go check them out. Instagram, eBay, and all that stuff. And of course, Mr. Bleecker Street Comics, $10 a press, $5 a clean. Make sure you guys go check out bleekerstreetcomics.com. 3,000 books on his website, so you got a lot of variety. So make sure you guys go check it out. Chris, man, how you been, man? It's been a while, dude. You've been super busy. So
super busy, man. I'm on like 7 shows right now, so it's been crazy.
Christ, man.
Yeah, I went to bed at 6:45 this morning, which was crazy.
God,
yeah, but it's only for a week or two, so you just got to do it. You got to make that money to buy them comics.
Christmas is around the corner, man. So yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, for you, yeah.
For me, yeah. Man, I start my new job on Monday, so I'm just I spend all this money on this business casual clothes because I can't wear sandals anymore to work. So yeah,
man.
That's the one thing I hate. Everyone's like, "What are you gonna miss about your old job?" I'm like, track pants, shorts, sandals, and sneakers. Yeah. So now I got to dress up and shirt tucked in and shit. I'm like, oh, God.
I'm lucky if I wear pants to work. To be honest,
you got to wear a belt. Do you even own a belt?
I got 2. I got 2. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one is all you need. You got a spare belt. That's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Hey, you never know. You never know what's cooking or what's in the lunchbox. So we'll see. All right, guys. Before we check out what books we're going to be talking about, let's just say hello to the chat real quickly. Wes, gold medal. Thank you so much. We haven't had a Canadian take the gold in a long time. Michael Baker, how you doing? 2 out of 3, not bad. Bleecker, what's going on, sir? A lot of people went to shows this week, so I'm a little jealous about Baltimore Con. I'm a little jealous about Chris going to that Vancouver show because he got a lot of great stuff. So. Yeah, unfortunately, yours truly went to a show that was very overpriced. So we won't talk about that yet. Mr. Dan Delatorre, what is going on? Just Cruz, what is happening? Serge, Manny, Marvel, you guys know the deal. Miguel, I will introduce you guys. I'll give you guys a shout out as soon as you guys pop in. But we got a show to start off. We got comics to talk about. So, like I always say, make sure the popcorn's warm and the Coronas are cold. Gentlemen, are you ready to start the show?
Hell yeah.
Let's do it.
For sure.
Do you like pants? I don't think anybody knows that reference except maybe Jake right now. So 22 Comics, what is going on, man? How you doing? Yo. All right, guys. First book up, and we are asking, is it failed spec? Here we go. We got Fantastic Four, number 352, first appearance of Mobius. I didn't say Morbius. Second cameo appearance of the TVA, first appearance of the Minutemen. During the show, this was a $20 to $50 book. Now it is a $2 to $5 book max. I actually just saw this book in dollar bins. The guy was basically just giving them away. What do you guys think about this book? Chris, we'll go to you first.
I think Mobius is around for a while. Sure. Yeah. But it's just a cameo. Is the market pick this book as the book to get?
As the cameo, this one and 353, the human.
See, that's
next
the one.
issue. Yeah.
See, when I think of that first appearance as 353, I wouldn't go. To be honest, I wouldn't put my money in this book at all.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah,
me neither. It's a cool cover. I'll say that. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I was going to say it is a cool cover, but ultimately, I think you got to be a pretty high level character before people start caring about the cameo, right? I mean, you've got to be, Wolverine. You've got to be a pretty big character before people start really caring about the actual, whether it's a cameo appearance or first appearance. So this one, Mobius, great character, great acting. I'm looking forward to seeing the character back on screen, but I'm not going after a cameo appearance in this particular case. And the other thing is, I gotta say, I don't actually know how big is this cameo appearance. Are we talking how many panels, right? If it's a big one, then people may start arguing like this is the one to get, but not knowing how big it is, I would go after the first full appearance, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta agree. If you're gonna spend that kind of money, you can definitely get closer to getting the actual first appearance, rather than, cameo of a supporting character, and kind of like, I mean, obviously the TVA has a bigger relevance now with the Loki show and everything, but they weren't even a very prominent organization for a lot of past few years. So, the cameos, like these guys both said, it's more for the bigger characters and everything like that. So Mobius, yeah, run filler, it's failed.
I'm going to disagree with everybody here, and I'm going to go back to what, what Chris actually opened up with. He goes, Mobius is here to stay. I think, while it's not a big book, right? I mean, I'm not putting this up with like Tales of Suspense 39 or Hulk 181 or Journey into the Mystery 83. I'm not putting that character with those. But what I'm saying is, we always talk about getting the characters or the book when it's on the dip. And if he's going to be around and he was as popular, who's to say right now we don't pay $1 or $2 for it? And then when he arrives, then this one gets heat. I agree. 353 is the one to get, but you guys know how it is. We all know how it is. A character shows up and it doesn't matter who it is. Anything associated with that character in the last 18 months just blows up. Right? Look at all the Kang books. I mean, you got Uncanny Avengers, I think 12, with just a Kang, that white cover. It has nothing to do with them, but it was selling for like $40, right? So it's just one of those things, one of those effects. So, I mean, if I have one and I only paid $1 to $2, I might as well keep it just to see where they go. That's just my opinion.
So, Newbie, what you're saying is it's not failed, it's just delayed.
It's delayed. I think that's what I'm going to call the segment. Is it failed?
But the problem with a book like this, though, is like I don't disagree with anything you said. And there's a lot of books like, Fantastic Four 66, the Warlock, him cameo, things like that. Like there are a lot of those books. I just think your window on a book like this to sell it to get any big profit would probably be very limited. It'd be around the news of anything or a trailer. And that window is very small, and then it just dies off right away. That's my theory.
Yeah, and usually the second time around, the spikes and stuff aren't definitely not nearly what they were the first time around either. So whenever we see him in season 2 of Loki or whatever, yeah, there probably will be a small rise or some, people going after him, but
I just think if you bought it for $1 and you're just going to get rid of it for $2, you might as well just hold on to it, right?
shit, if you bought it for $1,
you
really
might make
can't lose.
$10 at the end of the day,
Yeah.
right?
Right?
So,
Yeah.
who knows? All right. Well, let's shift gears here. We're going to go into book number 2. And Chris, is it failed? But we got Avengers 293. So this is the first appearance of Chairman Kang, leader of the Councils of Kang. First appearance of Kang of Other Earth. First appearance of Kang Nebula. A lot of people are going a little crazy about that one. The Kang Nebula. I can't remember. I can't pronounce that girl's name. Ravonna Renslayer. Renslayer, yeah. So this spiked through speculation again, but is back to being in the dollar bins. I remember this book spiked because somebody was like, "Hey man, if you find this book, grab it." I found like 5 copies for like $2. I grabbed them. I think that's where my value is. So Chris, what do you think?
I think it's a hold. I'd hold on to this. I would buy more. At $1 to $3, there's a lot of first appearances of a character that is obviously being set up to be a pretty big deal for a while. And also an interesting character that has multiple variations of that character, and who knows which one's going to pop. At $1, if you can get this for $1, yeah, it's no brainer. I'd grab this book and, spend $10 and get 10. And if it fails, big deal.
So excited.
Yeah.
Spirit fingers.
Exactly. Jazz hands. Yeah, no, I'd hold it. Yeah, I'd grab it.
Yeah, I'm with Chris on that. Ultimately, Kang has so many different faces. It's already been proven the first appearance of Kang was a good spec. I know because I benefited from it. And so I'm saying I think the other Kang books, especially other first appearance Kang books, are great to have. Not failed at all. I don't even think it's delayed. Like, it's just literally like the train is moving. You're just, when are you going to get off? And I don't think you get off now. I think you get, like Chris said, you get more. Buy more tickets.
Yeah, Kang's he's a little bit of a different, type of character than the normal spec characters, in that he does have so many variations, like Chris said, and we're going to see several of them, I'm sure, by the time it's all said and done with the story arc that they go through with Kang. So yeah, a couple bucks in a back issue bin, hold it for a couple months till you start seeing more of these versions of Kang. One of them shows up, probably spikes, you can make a couple dollars.
You know what? This one always kind of confused me. And even when I was told to get it, I think it was, I can't remember who told me, but they were like, "Yo, man, just grab it. And I was like, okay. This one just has an ugly cover to me, though. It is like one of the worst cover. Like, I don't know. I always think of like a snake. And then I think of William Dafoe's like Green Goblin for whatever reason. Like, that's just where my mind goes with this. Like, I don't know. I found them, like I said, I found them very cheap, and like, you guys just mentioned, I mean, you guys are all saying it's a hold, grab more, buy more tickets, things like that. And again, like I just said on the last book, right? When Kang reappears, I mean, I think everybody's just going to go nuts with like all the Kang books that went crazy prior, right? Obviously, Kang's going to be around for a while. And if anybody in the chat thinks that Ant-Man is going to beat Kang and that's going to be the last we see of Kang, you are wrong. That's all I'm going to say.
Version at the most, he's beating.
I know. But people still, like, when I have conversations about Kang, people are like, "No, man, Ant-Man and Wasp are going to destroy him." I'm like, "Are you serious? Like,
have you met Kang?"
Even out loud, that just sounds stupid. And
he's
I don't
Thanos level. He's Thanos level stuff.
I know. It's crazy, but like I said, Just Cruise the same. If you can get for $1, $2, why not buy and hold? But I wouldn't spend up to get the book. Yeah, I wouldn't spend like $100 on 100 copies. But
I completely agree with that.
Settle down, all right? J2 Ramirez, he was filling in. He was on the Lords of the Long Box. What is going on, man? Man, when I was watching that show before we went live, you have like a radio personality voice, man. It was so smooth. So yeah, maybe you'll be on the radio someday. I don't know, but welcome, man. How you doing? All right, next book, Micronauts number 8. Face, you should be very familiar with this book. But this is the first appearance of Captain Universe. The book spiked in February. Chris, I know you have a few copies.
Yeah. This is a weird one. I actually sold this book in a 9.8 for over $500, and I was pretty stoked about that because I picked it up for I think $4 like 3 or 4 years ago. And I have grabbed a few more, but yeah, it sounds like the next spike on this book's probably going to be if it's movie related, because it sounds like the comic related stuff is over.
Yeah.
So totally. So, and I just can't imagine that being anytime soon. But hey, crazier things have happened. It's still a cool cover. It's Michael Golden. I love the book. And what are they selling for right now?
Right now, a 9.6 sold in February for $435, but a 9.6 just sold in August for $238. So basically
it's
half.
Dropped in half. Yeah. I you know what? I think it's probably like where the market allows that book to be. That's, I don't know. As a personal collection book, I think it's a hold. As a investment, I wouldn't. I'd put my money elsewhere.
Pussy.
Yeah, I got a bunch of them, man. So
not so fun, huh? It's not so fun. It's not so fun. That's all I'm saying. Jake, what do you think about the book, brother?
I'm gonna go with. It's got a lot of potential. I mean, obviously, anything Micronauts, you're starting to look into the quantum realm. Anything that's going into these little micro realms of sorts, I think has some potential. Like, you could make an argument, right? You could start an argument about why it's a good spec, but just in general, I think people overpaid for this book. And anybody, Chris, the person who paid you $500 for a 9.8, I think that's a failed spec. I don't tend to say that all that often, but I think you're buying way too high on that book. We're not talking about a book that you're getting for $1, right? This isn't a book that you're going out and finding in the dollar bins. And if that's the case, I think people are overspending if they're getting anywhere close to $100 for a copy of this.
Yes.
Because it's not a bargain anymore. And it's too big of a bet when, like Chris said, you can go buy a way better book or multiple better books that are low risk, much lower risk spec that have potential for higher reward.
I'm interested to see what the next panelist says, because Face and I and a group of us, mainly Comic Kingpins now, which you could find on Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern time. We actually broke the news of this, spoiled the story for some. We did it on Super Bowl day, and we actually had Mr. Key Issues as we were breaking the news of who Captain Universe was going to be and things like that. Mr. Key Issues actually had live eBay sales going, and during our release of information, that thing exploded. It made every top 10. So I think it's all Face's fault. But Face, what do you think about the book?
Yeah, okay. I guess we're gonna blame me for it. Sure, why not? I mean, so the thing is, like, before any of that happened, as far as the whole Venom storyline and Captain Universe, the Enigma Force, showing up and everything like that in King in Black, this book was like, I think around like maybe $20 to $40 raw or so, depending on the condition that you would find it in. And it kind of looks like it's probably getting down back to around those levels. It might still be a little bit higher yet, but it seems like it's like these guys said, it's kind of leveling off where it really should be. Because, as cool as Captain Universe is or whatever, he's kind of like it's kind of like one of those MacGuffin things. They just kind of bring him in to sort of resolve a storyline when a character needs a huge power boost, and then it fucking goes on about its way, and then it shows up the next time it's needed. It's not really anything that you can count on reliably showing up in comics at all. It's very hard to predict when they use Captain Universe. As far as in the cinematic universe, yeah, there's a chance that they'll probably use some variation of Captain Universe at some point, show up for some reason. But yeah, like these guys that both said, that's probably way down the road before they get anything like that involved. So I mean, I guess I would say it's not really failed spec so much as it's just kind of reverted to where it originally was.
Yeah, I think we had, and like I said, Keys was watching the live eBay sales when we were doing that. news break, and yeah, man, it was just crazy where that book went. I know we were all in shock because we were watching that book prior. Not like any of us bought any, but yeah, it was just crazy to see where that book went. A lot of people were trying to figure out, hey, who is Captain Universe, especially in that, in that run. People were saying Venom and this and that. It was a hot topic. We actually got the news, and then yeah, we broke it. It was very disappointing, kind of like Donnie Cates's Virus, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. But I'm with Jake. I mean, if somebody's willing, if I had it and somebody was willing to pay me $500 for it, I would take it all day, 100%. Because I just think that that's way too much. There's way, I'm not gonna say better books, but I will. There are way better books to get, in my opinion. Well, because everybody collects differently, right? So when like there could be somebody watching on the rewind or like 20 years from now being like, Micronauts 8 is like my favorite book, and the guy's probably got like 100 copies. I don't want to offend that guy, right? And be like, hey, you know what? This is a lame book. But I mean, in my opinion, it's cool. But like I just wouldn't necessarily buy this book. It's not something that you would probably see in my PC. Just for the price. I mean, if I could get $500 for it at the height of it, I would take it all day. I would probably take 238 or sorry, 138. Chris, I lied to you. Sorry. In August, 138. In February, when the news was broke, it was 415. Sorry, I got my numbers mixed up.
Sounds about right. Yeah, because I sold mine, I think, for like 560 US for a 9.8 around that time that you guys announced that, which was, I don't know, what's that, like 750?
Yeah, I was gonna say like 730, somewhere around there.
There's a lot. It was, I mean, I thought it was, but I look at this book as a book that is like a step towards a bigger key. It's like I'll still buy these books if I see them raw cheap. I see them, like I just bought a 9.8 candidate recently for about $11. It was just sitting in some store stock. So they're still
which is a good deal, right? Like you're talking about a good deal on that. You're not spending $100 on a 9.8 candidate.
No. Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd spend $100. But I mean, when you can get it for 11, you send it off to CGC, which is about $50-$60. Your total investment is about 75, let's say. Right? I mean, if you could flip it for, and if it gets hot again, and you could flip it for, say, 200 or 150. I mean, you're doubling your money. It's a lot of work, right? So I mean,
totally. Can we both or all agree on one thing though? Captain Universe might be the dumbest name in the MCU or the Marvel Universe. It's pretty up there.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be on the list.
Are you serious? You're gonna let Captain Marvel off the hook here? It's like basically I haven't heard of Captain DC.
True.
Right? Like, I'm just saying.
You're right. No, but there's a lot of dumb names.
But DC had Captain Marvel before Marvel took it back, basically.
I know. So it's even worse.
Well, I'm just saying. You're trying to say that Captain DC didn't exist. They had Captain DC. It was just called Captain Marvel, and then they lost the name. So DC didn't even have enough. God, I mean, they got disrespected twice. So.
Listen, I just have one of those relationships with Captain Marvel. Like I just recently heard a comedian, I think it was like Sam Morelli or whatever. He's a New Yorker. I'm starting to watch a lot of his stuff, and he actually was making jokes about Marvel. And I think it was him, and yeah, he mentioned that. He's like, man, they really got lazy. Captain Marvel, like, and yeah, I mean, obviously he does it better because he's a professional comedian, and I only act as one. So
No, your delivery was good. You should do more.
Yeah. I've got
keep it up.
I got an L-shaped couch, lowercase.
Jesus Christ, it's like BC's here with the dad jokes.
Moving on.
All right, guys. Next book, and this is a modern book, so I don't know how Chris and Jake feel about it, but this one came out earlier this year. We got Batman 108, first appearance and cover of Miracle Molly. So many covers. Face, you can attest to this. There were so many covers for this. It was really hard to pinpoint which one was the winner at first because everybody was scrambling. 9.8 on October 17th sold for $111. On the same date, it sold for $69. So somebody there got ripped off or didn't know what they were doing. I never jumped on Miracle Molly, so I kind of don't know where this book should be, what the character's about. You guys have heard me say a lot of, man, DC just brings in new characters every week, it seems. So, we just kind of fell into that trap there. But Chris, interested to see if you know who Miracle Molly is, or if you have any money invested, or what your thoughts are.
Well, I have a question, but it's probably my answer too. Who the fuck is Miracle Molly? So that's where I stand on the whole thing. Really, I hate these books. There's so many, especially DC seems to be doing this, where they're like almost promoting a first appearance coming up, or we think there's one coming up, so everyone just pile drives into buying copies, and they're all shit. I mean, look at this fucking character. It just looks stupid. I don't know.
A lot of people were saying that it was like Billie Eilish, and I don't know if you know who that is, but it's like
Oh, I know who that is. I have a 13-year-old daughter.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, yeah. So a lot of people were saying that it's basically like Billie Eilish.
Wow, I'm gonna spec heavy on that. Yeah. 10 grand in. No, moving on. Jake, you go. I hate this book.
To answer your question, I remember when the book came out. I still go to my LCS on New Comic Book Day. I just generally am not buying this. And to be honest, I used to read every Batman. I mean, from New 52 forward, I mean, I was really into New 52, and then I just kind of started moving away from some of the stuff. I don't know. Anyway, I like Scott Snyder's writing. This stuff, however, not really doing it for me. Anyway, you're talking about a spec. I guess what I would say is I think it's really too soon to call this, whether it's a fail or not fail, because I don't really know enough about what they're doing with the character. And if it just came out this year, that character has a lot more time to develop. Now, am I spending what would you say it was? $120?
So 111. So on the same day, 9.8 sales were made. One for 111, and the other one for $69.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't want to go with $69? I would do it. God, we are children sometimes. But I guess if you really like the character, then it just becomes about that. But otherwise, to me, it's not even delayed. It's like, geez, let the plane land before we figure out, what the hell's going on. So, because I don't think it's had enough time.
Yeah, I mean, she's she's an interesting new character. But she so far has kind of mostly struck me as more of like a supporting character than anything. As in that, she seems like she's going to be involved in this storyline that Tynion's writing and everything like that. And then not really sure what future writers would really be able to do with her. I mean, she's very heavily tied to the Unsanity Collective storyline. But, like Jake said, down the road, it's hard to say. A different writer could take over and see some kind of potential in her and use her for something that makes her popular. At this point right now, she's definitely not, like on the same level as like Punchline and everything that people are bringing up, obviously, but she is
I'd much
really
rather
new.
prefer Clown Hunter. Sorry to jump in, Face, but like there are some other more recent DC Batman / characters that I think are much more fun to collect.
But do you think that the problem, and this is what I always say with DC is the knock lately, right? Is it seems like we get like 10 Batman ones, and then like 6 new characters introduced every week, it seems. I mean, now I know that the whole thing with like, John Kent is going on and like people are going crazy for that. But I mean, like, if you look, I mean, we were getting like Clown Hunter, Designer, Miracle Molly, there was countless others, but that was just kind of what it seemed. It was like every week we were getting this new character, and then people were like, well, wait a minute. Whoa. What about Punchline? What about Clown Hunter? Because they built Clown Hunter up, and then they were just like, no, we got these other characters, right? So like I think that that's one of the knocks too, right? So I don't know. The other thing too is like there was like 1,000 and I exaggerate with 1,000, but like there were so many covers to this too that I think the oversaturation as well didn't really do it justice. You know what I mean? Like, do you guys find that with some of the newer books?
They were prepping us to just collect them at like doing that. They were I don't know. I just see it as taking advantage of the audience, quite frankly, when they're doing that many variants. Personally, So
the variants, yes. The character after character that DC is tossing out there now. I mean, I'm gonna go back to something that I've said before. I don't think it was on your show, but just DC is so hard from a comic collecting standpoint because all of the best characters, all of the ones that everybody knows and really, really wants, all their books are from the Golden Age and the Silver Age, right?
Yeah.
They're so old and so expensive, and then they just kept reusing the same people, same characters. Always the top ones, always floated to the top, and so DC. Right? People are going after all these Marvel books from the Bronze Age because there's a lot of fun to collect where you're not spending, $2,000 just to, I mean, you can on a Bronze Age book, but they don't all require. You can find a lot of really great new characters in Marvel Bronze Age where DC, you're not, there's fewer to chase. And so maybe DC is trying to correct that ship, right? They need a lot more characters, and maybe 10, 20 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to say, man, there were a lot of good characters that had legs, and DC's just literally like, all right, well, Miracle Molly this week and this one next week. And in a couple of years, one of them's going to grow legs and run on their own.
of course, absolutely.
I actually never really thought about it that way, in the sense of like, for all those years, DC was just using the same characters over and over, while with Marvel, we were getting introduced. So
they reinvented them every decade.
I kind of have to rethink my logic there. Maybe I have to go back and buy one of these copies. I don't know.
One thing about DC, and I feel bad for them, and we all can agree with this. Marvel's, like, the price of back issues have gone through the roof because of the movies. I mean, there's no question that's the major reason. And the movies for DC just aren't very good. And the problem with a book like this is that if Batman is really good, and I have to admit, I think the movie looks awesome, the new Batman, it's going to take like 20 years for them to get to this character, or 8 or 10, and it's going to take that kind of momentum, a movie version of this character, to get this character popular with average people, to make it iconic. And
well, I think you also made it like Chris, when I said, like, it kind of looks like Billie Eilish. I mean, it looks to me like they're making these characters like to get with the times, like kind of like that adult trying to be hip, right? Like, let's give you green hair.
Marvel was the king of that in the 70s. They were like, like any kind of new thing that came up, they would have a character associated to it. Like Dazzler was disco, and like Luke Cage was like blaxploitation movies. So hey, let's make a Luke Cage character. That'd be awesome. And they did that, and they dealt with all that stuff in the 70s. I don't know if they're doing it as much now, but back then they certainly were. So
we got a question or a statement rather, but you say this as people are dropping 200 plus on Bloodstone.
I think that's one of the best specs out there right now. Bloodstone #1.
That thing has grown exponentially in the last like 6 months, I would say. But you also have to look at like where Marvel's going. I mean, they're building this horror world, right? Horror, not horror. They're bringing in Blade. They're bringing all that stuff in. It just makes sense. So I can see, low print run. So I can see why it's going to where it is. Sometimes it's just that deeper digging that you have to do in order to see, like, okay, why is it really popping? It's not like just somebody was just saying, hey, go get Bloodstone 1 for no reason, right? It will have its due. Chris, I think you and I had said that, 9/8 for a little while were around 6 to 7.
Oh, they're in the 1,000 range.
Yeah, I think last time we talked was 1,000. I think if this character comes up, it's a $2,000 book. That's just how the market works.
It's so hard to get too. I mean, I've been fortunate getting copies, but I was looking for them when people weren't looking for them as much. But they're really difficult to find.
I would rather invest 200 in a first Legion of Monsters than Bloodstone 1. What are your thoughts on that? I know we're getting off topic, but what are your thoughts on that? Because that one was getting hot like a year ago.
It's an awesome book, but it's like on a financial basis, I think it's a cooler book. Actually, I'll be honest, the Legion of Monsters is a cooler book. I'm getting feedback from someone's speaker or something. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. I think Legion of Monsters is a cooler book, and as a collector of comics, I would prefer that book. As an investor in comics, I would definitely go Bloodstone #1. I think I'd put my money in that way. But I already have the Legion, so I'm good.
Well, if I can, I'm gonna have to agree with Chris, but I'm gonna add on to it. And this is just kind of how I tend to spec. I do look at, look at how many characters are. I mean, the Legion of Monsters, that's not first appearances of all of those characters. A lot of those characters are all in previous books, and you can go after their singular first appearance. So that is a first appearance of a team, of a group. And while it's great, it is also multiple characters. While, yeah, and but the Bloodstone is one single character, and it is a first appearance. So if that character, now it depends, right? Maybe you're putting more money in one basket than another, but Bloodstone, I think, has a higher ceiling because of it. So every Booty Stone.
Sorry, I'm trying to stay professional here.
No, you know what though? It had to come up. All right. I mean that cover, you can't you can't get around it.
Right, airbrushed ass.
Yeah. I mean, hey, collect how you want. It's your money as long as you work for it, obviously. But I mean, if you think Legion, but yeah, I totally agree with what Jake and Chris said. I mean, Jake, you kind of, in my opinion, hit it on the nail, right? You're getting that team versus that actual first appearance. But I would have both books if I could. At a certain price point. I mean, I know there's meat on the bone on that Bloodstone one. It's just when I look at like, okay, well, what could I make profit wise to spending $1,000? I mean, I could get a lot of books right now that I could A, make money, or B, that I want in my PC. So it's just like a hold for me on that. But yeah, you can't go wrong with either of those books. But just know that horror world that's coming. So, you just got to be careful. All right. Next book, guys. We got Thor 365, first appearance of Frog of Thunder, Loki Easter egg. So the frog was in that bottle, and the bottle was actually capsulated with the number 364. Hint, hint. Spiked during the Loki episode 8. Afterwards, took a huge dive. So let's look at it. On October 7th, 2021, which is way after the show, a 9.8 sold for $198. On October 12th, a 9.2 sold for $44. The show made this thing spike. So I believe, if I remember correctly, I saw 9.8 of this going in that $350, $400 range when that frog appeared. Chris, we've had multiple conversations about this book, even when the show was going on. I'd like to get your thoughts, sir.
My thoughts are I would hold this book. I would buy, they're cheap. I would buy more. I think this character could be a Rocket Raccoon. Or at least a very, very cool moment within the Thor universe with Taika Waititi doing having total control of the fourth movie. I think this character is going to show up. I really do. And when he shows up, I think he's going to be like the Baby Yoda of the Marvel universe. He's going to be fucking huge. Every kid's going to have like a toy.
The Baby Yoda.
What's the Baby Yoda's real name?
Yeah, dude, you're asking me. I don't know Star Wars, dude. I don't know anything.
No. Is it Grogu?
Grogu, yeah. But if I said Grogu, Newbie would have just stared at the lens. What? So Baby Yoda. But anyway, I could see it going that route, and for how cheap they are. I mean, I picked up one this weekend for $13 Canadian. So that's like under $10 US. It's cheap. So yeah, I'd recommend it.
I thought Pip the Troll. All right, I'm not gonna shy away from an opinion on this one. I really don't like this book.
Tell me how you really feel, man.
Like everyone was going just nuts over this character when he showed up in Loki, in that bottle or whatever it was, and like. It's great. It was one of those things where it's just like, hey, everybody, you go buy that book. I'm going to buy something that seems a lot smarter over here. And maybe it's not. I guess I don't care for Throg. It's not one of those characters like, well, I see that, Throg he's on the front of some, like variant covers and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh, come on. Really? We're running after embracing a frog now? I just feel like I could just go and I could be buying
that frog is a god, all right?
Yeah, it's a god frog. Yeah, I get it. But that said, hey, you know what? you know, I never had a reptile as a pet. I feel like the people who probably, you know, are buying this book maybe had a reptile as a pet as a kid, and maybe, you know, that's why they're going after it. That's why they're, you know, they like it. Me, I had dogs. I mean, maybe if they turned Thor into a dog, I'd be all like, "Oh, that's cool." But other than that, I'm not buying. I thought that this one was dead the moment I saw it. I was just like, "Oh, they nodded to fans," and then fans were like, "Buy the book." I was like, "No, they were just nodding to you. They're not telling you to buy the book." So that's me. I don't like the book.
Can't believe. Okay, I know. Face. Sorry to cut you off. I can't believe nobody's said the obvious about this cover in all the years. But okay, Face. Go ahead. Sorry.
That it's like Hulk #1.
No, it's like Animorphers, man. Every time I see this, I'm like,
I see Hulk 1.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a neat character, you know, Frog Thor, I guess. It's kind of got that Loki Gator, you know, sort of appeal and everything like that. And I guess there is a Pet Avengers project in the works down the road. So you know, there might be some potential there if you can buy some copies, you know, cheap on the dip for sure. Because like you guys said, you know, it did spike whenever we saw that, you know, show the cameo in the Loki series, but they didn't do anything with the characters. So, you know, it's just the Pet Avengers. I think it's going to be an animated, so it probably won't hit as big as like the series or the movies by any means. But you know, What If just showed a lot of potential there for the animated series and how they perform and how they affect you know, spec value on different books. So you know, it's something to consider. You know, picking up a copy, you know, for a couple bucks while it is on the low, and you can probably turn it around whenever the Pet Avengers series does hit, if it ever does come to actual fruition. So, but it's probably not a huge book by any means. Like Jake was saying, it's definitely not a huge book or a huge key at all.
Man, if Kid Collector was saying that this is the shit when he was in grade 2, these books were out when I was in like grade 5. Okay, so yeah, I did not care for Animorphers. I did not care for the show. The only thing I liked about those books were like if you took a book and went like you looked at the bottom and like the person turned into like the animal or whatever they're supposed to be too. So I thought that was kind of cool. But other than that, yeah, no
Cheap
love
thrills.
for Animorphers.
Cheap thrills for Animorphers.
You know what? I'm gonna go with Chris. I think it's a hold. I think there's a reason why they put that frog there. There's a reason. They just wouldn't put that frog there for nothing. And
they were nodding to a joke in the they were
just,
we'll see, Jake. We'll
see. Yeah, we'll see. But it's like we always say, buy on the low, right? So like if you could find this book cheap enough, why not?
And raw copies are cheap. Like you can really find them for under $20.
Yeah. So
all right, Chris has convinced me. I'm on the train. Well, I'll buy the book now.
All right. Next time we all get on a show, let's make this a deal. Let's all get this book by Christmas. And then we do a show and we show it off. Okay.
Oh no, we can trade them for Christmas presents.
Yeah, or that.
Well, hey, by then there'll probably be stuffed frogs out there where we can just
right.
we'll get each other.
I know people are saying it's a joke and things like that, but I think there's just a little bit more to it with the Pet Avengers stuff coming and things like that. DC's also got the pet thing. You know, one follows the other. I just think it's something to keep an eye on. I don't think that this is going to be, say, a $1,500 book or a $2,000 book. I'm not saying that, and I always say that, but I always talk about meat on the bone and buying on the low, right? When no one's talking about the book and no one cares about it. Let's look at what happened when this character did show up, even just for that slight second. The book fucking exploded. Yeah. Exploded. That's what all people were talking about for a week. And people were like, man, do you think it's a fucking hold? Do you think it's fuck? Dude, that's what is going to happen next time the character shows up. So now that nobody's talking about it because we live in a...
Well, if he actually shows up and moves around and is cute and funny, people are going to shit themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way, I have to say, if I was to ever have a rock band in the near future, it would be called Stuffed Frog or Throg. So,
Stuffed Frog.
Yeah, that's what you said. So you just named my band, Jake. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, I'll come to the first show. You just let me know.
Yeah, I'll be on keyboard.
Oh, man.
I'll be on
Ant-Man and the Wasp adds Bill Murray. Yeah, so that was the news about 2 weeks ago. He's basically probably going to be playing like some character from like, you know, from the past or something like that. Don't read too much into it. I spoke about that maybe a few weeks ago, just to add to star power. I mean, you know, it's not like he's getting like $5 million to do the part. So
Kang variant.
Yeah, Kang variant, maybe. Who knows? All right. So everybody, well, Jake is on board with this one, so that's good. All right. So this one is delayed. All right. All right, guys, we'll stick with Thor here, but this one was kind of going all over the place. So we got Thor 617, more modern book here, Chris. So we got the first appearance of Kid Loki. Book spiked and was Fuego. If you don't know what Fuego means, Google it. During the Loki show, raw copies are still selling anywhere between $30 and $60 Canadian. And as of October 3rd, a 9.6 sold for $171.
I guess it's me. I think this is a cool book. I really do. And I know about it. And I think I have a copy. Saying that, I would probably not go after this book right now. I think we saw the variant already. And if he shows up again, I think it's going to be to the extent we saw him already. And I don't think it's really going to be a big deal. So I pass on this personally.
Well, I would, me personally, I would pass too, but playing the other side of it, I would still have to ask, like, if the character is going to come back, how high do you think it's going to get anyway? Right? I mean, how much of a bump do you really see?
If he got his own show.
But do you
I don't
really
see that happening, though.
Yeah. Loki as a character, carries his own show, but I mean, it wasn't as if like Kid Loki was handling his own.
He was kind of an asshole.
I mean, he did kill Thor, right? So like, let's give him some love there.
Yeah,
no. I was, but he wasn't as if it wasn't like he stole the scene like you, right? Like it wasn't like everybody was clamoring over the character or anything like that. Yeah. I like to think the character. If the character comes back, what do you think the ceiling is on how much the character would be used, and how does that impact the book? And neither one do I think that it has a high ceiling. So, but why were you buying it in the first place, right? Well, like when the book spiked, what did you think was going to happen? Like when you were buying that book, it didn't make sense to me then. It still doesn't make sense to me now. Fine book, have it if you want to. If you're, if that's a run you're going after, sure. But if you think that that's going to be a book that makes you $50 or $100, I don't think it's going to be. So,
Face, before you go, I just have a question here from Joel. Joel, great name, by the way. He's saying, if you are piling up on Young Avengers, why wouldn't you have this on the side as well? Anybody care to take a stab at that?
I don't think that Kid Loki will be in the Young Avengers if they do it as a series, or a Disney Plus series or a movie. But then with the multiverse, I'm probably wrong on that. So he's got a point. Yeah.
All right, Face, where are you on this book, brother?
Yeah, I mean, there is some small attachment to like the Young Avengers and everything like that. And he may somehow show up again in Loki season 2. But we've already seen this character. So, and as far as the different Loki variants, I guess maybe the kid might have been some people's favorite, but I think most people were more fans of Loki Gator or fucking old man Loki
or Dorky, as I like to say.
I don't think old man Loki is dead, by the way. I think he was.
Is that the guy that made the thing and like?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if he is dead, he went out like a fucking boss either way. So
yeah, but think about how many times we thought Loki was dead, where it looked like he died, but it was like literally him projecting. Look, old Loki's he's still around, and I'm more interested in him than I am Kid Loki. Just
right. Yeah, because I mean, he stole that scene. So
yeah,
I just remember before the show, everybody was very big on this one and Lady Loki. Those two books were just. Man, I remember hearing, and I'm not going to call anybody out because, hey, collect whatever you want, collect whatever way you want, spend your money whatever way you want. But like, I remember people were like advising me to like stack a book. And like, I always take it with a grain of salt. Like, yeah, okay. Like I appreciate people sending me information or having those conversations or, like exchanging, info like, hey man, what are you collecting right now? And, but there's some books that I'm like, it's a red flag, right? Like this one and that Lady Loki. But I think like, just like Chris said, I mean, this character is, even if he does show up again, I mean, what's the height that this book could get? I mean, we've already seen him. He kind of had a few lines. He kind of stole a scene or two. It was pretty badass when, they're like, oh, what did you do? And he was like, I killed Thor. right? Like that was pretty badass. But outside of that, I mean, if you think that this is $1,000 book, $800 book, I mean, I think you're wrong. If you found it cheap enough, congratulations. If you find a good deal under slab price to get a nice slab, well, hey, grab it. But yeah, I'm with Chris. I just don't see it. I don't think this character gets his own show. I don't think that, Marvel has any plans for it. And like Faye said, which, sorry, Jake, I didn't take anything that you said, but like Faye said, right? I think Gator and the older guy kind of stole more of that show than Kid Loki did for me. That's just my opinion. I will say this. There's a lot of people at Fan Expo dressed up as Loki. So, I mean, I don't know if it's just new people getting into the hobby and like Loki's their thing now, but there was a lot of women, men. There was a lot of Loki people. So I don't know.
I think Loki's just a really popular character. So I don't think he's going anywhere.
All right. Let's shift gears here. And another Thor book. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. So we got Thor 371. First appearance of Justice Peace, employed by the TVA. Anything TVA spiked during that show. Then raw copies were selling anywhere between $20 and $25. Now, back to $2 to $5, guys.
I'd probably hold 2 or 3 copies of this and see what happens. Not like if it's $2 to $5 each, they're cheap. And with TVA being probably a pretty big part of the next 5 years because of Kang, I don't know. Maybe he shows up.
Do you think organizations though have that longevity though, Chris?
Yeah, but he's a character. Justice Peace.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
About TVA. Yeah, it's kind of like first appearance of Shield really isn't worth that much considering what it is, but Justice Pieces. I don't know. I mean, at $2, $6. We buy 3 copies. See what happens.
Ooh,
yeah. Hey, you ever been to Vegas?
1/3 of the Pressable Defects just joined us. What's going on, guy? You're never late.
Ooh,
just in time. All right, Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go with kind of agreeing with Chris on this one, but in general, something that we didn't bring up on the last one, which maybe we should have, there is a second season of Loki coming out, and the way that I heard it, and I don't know how the writing is all being done on it, but I had heard that they originally were going to have, 12 episodes, but they made adjustments because of COVID, and they split it into 2 different seasons, and they kind of rewrote some of the storyline a little bit to make sure that it worked. That was something that I had heard, but ultimately, whatever season 2 holds, it is going to be a continuation of season 1's storyline. And if that's the case, I think the TVA and potentially Justice Peace is going to be around. And honestly, I mean, for $5, like Chris said, I mean, you're going to get just as bad odds if you're going to Vegas, and it's not going to be that cheap. So if you can store a couple, do it, because Loki season 2 is coming, and you know what? If you end up with a couple of these books and it doesn't do anything for you, I don't know, just put them in some mystery boxes and sell them to people.
Are you pushing books here, dude? Are you pushing
I don't
books?
sell. No. I'm not selling books. I'm just telling you. Throw them into your mystery boxes if you end up with them and they don't pan out.
Basically, Jake is sitting on 100 Thor 371s.
I have none of these. I have none of these books.
That's exactly what a person who's stacking these and pushing them would say.
Oh yeah.
Right. These guys basically said it all already. It is a character that hasn't showed up for a cheap buy-in. Given that we're gonna see season 2 with the TVA, worth it to grab a couple copies and hold on and hope that the character does show up and you can make a couple bucks off of it. And again, like Jake said, if not, I guess throw him in a mystery box.
Face, I thought you were gonna jump on the. He's such a ripoff of Judge Dredd. I thought you'd jump on that. Look at him,
right? Yeah, I was
he's like a
actually
redraw of Judge Dredd.
He is too.
Even driving the same bike.
You know what I always thought? I didn't even know that was a bike, to be honest with you. I thought that was like a traffic light. That's what I always thought. Every time I look at this, I always this dude on a traffic light. Yeah, okay, wow. I'm learning something today.
Yeah, he's definitely looking like a rip off of Judge Dredd, though.
Hey,
Specsman
said
is
something fucking
accurate
awesome. Yeah, that's great.
I could do without bacon on one burger to own this.
Right.
Oddly, I can't, but I would still own it.
Listen, you guys asked the question earlier in the show. What is the lamest Marvel character comic? I mean, Justice Peace, really? That sounds more of like an R&B singer than anything. Like, I feel like if I were to walk into like a church, you know, and they're like, and now on stage, Justice Peace. You know, like I feel like that's who I would meet. I wouldn't meet, you know, somebody like Judge Dredd. So
Yeah, but his middle name is Righteous. Did you know that? That's a
Justice
little known
Right.
fact.
Oh God, are you fucking with me or what? Are you just trying to push this book even more? Yeah, dude. Listen, everybody, Newbie Comics and the Newbieverse is not associated with what Omega Red and Spectales does with their mystery boxes. Okay, so
I don't sell mystery boxes, and my podcast
Yes.
doesn't either. Don't
Yeah.
do that. Don't do that.
By
That's
the
a
way,
bad look.
talk about lame names. I just looked this up. There's a character from the West Coast Avengers named Leather Boy.
Wow.
Seriously.
that's pretty lame.
Anyway, that might be the lamest.
Does he become Leather Man eventually?
I hope so. I hope so for his sake.
Or just leather for short. It's like just leather.
Grady, the fucking multi-tool.
Oh God. All right, guys. Next book, but we got another modern. But here we go, Jake. You were talking about him. So we got Batman 96, first appearance of Clown Hunter. Somewhat popular. I don't want to offend anybody, but I know there's a lot of people who like Clown Hunter. 9.8 just sold earlier this month for $84 Canadian.
That's low. I mean, that's definitely
That's really
low.
low. Yeah.
Got to remember too,
Go
for
ahead.
this one, just like DC does for all of them, like there was a shit ton of covers too, right? So this one wasn't the
They
one
promoted
that
it.
most people wanted.
With this character though, I read a little bit about this character. He does seem at least interesting. Like I thought he looked good. I wouldn't buy a CGC copy at this point. I would try and find some raws, and I'm sure you could buy a big fat stack of them off some guy who invested into them.
Oh, yeah.
At the very least at cover price, still to this day. So sure, yeah. This one, I don't know why he just said it. He sings to me a bit more. So sure, if I can get it for cover price, I'd buy him. That's where I am.
You're finding that, but I better off holding Miracle Mod. I'm not gonna get into arguments over which character is better because I think everybody, pick your own. And I think if you like one, go for it.
It's either you like Billie Eilish or you like Machine Gun Kelly. That's how I'm looking at it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Those are the
Right.
only two choices.
Right.
Wait, Machine Gun Kelly when he's
You're
doing
having
rap
a-
or when he's doing rock?
Right? That's actually pretty good comparison, right?
First of all, I like the variant. I do actually really like the variant cover. I don't own it for this book. The more popular one, that would be the one I would go after anyway. It seems to be the one that people are gravitating
Jake, sorry,
towards.
when you say the variant one, are you talking about the yellow one, like with him
it's
just on the cover?
it's the profile, right?
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
got-
Yeah.
Yep.
The yellow. Okay.
I don't know what, is it the 1 in 25? I don't know what is it store variant? I don't know.
Face might know.
But in general, I would just say I like that character. I don't know how much to speculate on it beyond I like it. But I like Batman characters, and Batman is something that I really didn't even know. They made a Batman movie in like 1941 or 1940. Chris, what was the year on it? Do you know?
What?
Yeah, back in 1943, actually.
43,
I think it was
okay.
43, yeah.
It was
black
like
and
the
white one, yeah.
like the first comic book movie ever made was a Batman movie in 1943. And my point I'm trying to make is they've made more Batman movies than they've basically made. I mean, Marvel's still trying to catch up when it comes to character movies, just about. And I just think that Batman as a character is going to have legs longer than just about everybody else. And maybe down the road, you're looking at, Clown Hunter or any other, Punchline or any of these characters. So go after the one you like best. If I'm picking one, I probably pick Clown Hunter. So I don't think this is a fail. I think it's simply a delay.
Yeah, I think one of the things with these new characters that have gotten introduced, more so Miracle Molly and Clown Hunter rather than Punchline, it kind of feels like James Tynion was setting up for like a longer run on Batman than what he's going to be doing now. I think because it feels like there was a lot of story there that he wanted to get to down the road, with developing those particular characters, and I just feel like he's going to be leaving the book before that happens. So it's going to be really come down to whatever future writers do with these characters. It's entirely possible they get a whole new creative team in there and they completely forget about fucking Clown Hunter and we don't see him again for another 20 years. Or they could come in and write a story and the character just blows up. So it's hard to say. They're so new that for a couple bucks, I think you can still find them for cover price in some shops and everything like that. It's probably worth it to hold on to it.
At least one.
See how the character pans out down the road a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with Chris too. I think the mistake here would probably be to get it slabbed already. I think that you might definitely be able to find something out there in the wild. I mean,
a ton of copies of this too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, there's also like a million covers as well. But like Jake said, right? Like Jake actually kind of opened my eyes on this show. I was 33 and a half years old when I learned it. But like Jake's right. Actually, when I've been thinking about it since he made that comment, and it's like, yeah, like they haven't really introduced a lot of new characters in say the last like 20, 25 years. So, I mean, one of these in the future's got to hit because they're going to probably have to go into a new direction, right? So who knows, Miracle Molly or Billie Eilish, Clown Hunter or MGK. I mean, they're not bad, especially if you can buy them. And all these characters all have like shit ton of covers. So like, you might not necessarily get the 1 in 25, but maybe you find the 1 in 10 or you find the cover A, something like that. So just something to be on the lookout for. Just quickly, question about that Batman movie from 1944. Was that still black and white in 44? I can't remember.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Check the comments. There's been a few good ones that it was a serial movie, but then somebody came in. Sorry, I don't know everybody's names. AOA Green Hornet was 1940, so Green Hornet would have been first, which I was unaware of that one as well. But in general, there are some of these characters, and especially Batman, that just have been latched onto. But I mean, they've been reutilizing a lot of the same villains, a lot of the same characters, and it's for good reason. Everybody loves the Joker. You're never getting rid of the character.
No.
And so maybe going with an associated character like Clown Hunter might be a good thing. That's where my mind goes. That's why I'm interested.
That's another one. 22 Comics is saying Talon, right? That
the
one's
Court
been,
of Owls, Talon,
yeah.
The Court of Owls, both of those absolute favorites of mine. Absolute favorites. I would take the Court of Owls or Talon over any other Batman, any other new character in the last 30 years.
Yeah, I was gonna say they'll probably go that route before like Miracle Molly or anything like that. Really quickly before we get to the next book. But don't you think Punchline is the real winner? I almost bought a 9.8 at Fan Expo for $320, but I passed on it. I'm like, there's no way I could do it. It was just too much. But don't you think that Punchline is their like next Harley, like their next big thing?
They've been pushing the character that way. I would agree. I just got to say, I am less interested in, I would say less interesting to me because we've already got Harley. We've already got a lot of, towing the line type characters where they're not good, not bad, kind of in the middle type of, personality. And Harley's already doing a lot of great stuff. And I don't think people are done with her yet. So I don't know.
Made to last is saying lower print run on what? Punchline? Just to confirm. Sorry.
Yeah, on Punchline for sure.
On Punchline? Okay. Yeah.
And that's something I'm not. That's the other thing.
Me neither.
You do want to take that into account for sure. I'm not up to date on all the modern stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's probably only a matter of time though before they cross Punchline over into the Harley series and make.
Doesn't she fall for Joker too? Like, wouldn't this start?
Yeah,
like
that's where
the
there's a love triangle there. I do know that.
Yeah.
From reading the most recent Joker series.
All right. Let's switch gears here. And we're going into Avengers here. So we got Avengers 195, 196. So you got the first cameo, and then you got the first appearance of Taskmaster, spiked prior to Black Widow, as a lot of people were expecting way more than what the character actually turned out to be. Big letdown. Now, that's my opinion and other people's opinion as well. Number 196. So the first appearance sold in a 9.2 for $308 earlier this month on October 10th. No 9.8s sell, or at least when I had done this. But I think we can agree this character, I mean, I was preaching the whole time is going to be a one and done. I remember people talking about this character back in, like, say 2013, 2014, when the book really popped and it got to like $40. I remember I owned like 3 or 4 copies of these. I got rid of them long time ago, but I never really fell into the Taskmaster train. Chris, let me know what you think.
I actually really like this book. I think I'm happy that it's dropping in value because I want to buy a 9.8 for my personal collection.
196, right?
Yeah, 196, not the 195. I think 195 you might as I don't care for it. It's a cameo thing and whatever. But the 196 just has a cool cover and Thunderbolts. I think there's some steam left there. But saying that, as a collector, I really want this book in my collection. But yeah, I don't know. I don't actually have an answer about.
Do you think that they would use the same female? So the guy, sorry, spoiler, it's a female.
Yeah.
In case somebody's like, God damn it, I was gonna watch that tomorrow. Do you think they use that female in that role? Because I mean, they obviously, like you said, left a little bit there. Right.
I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't too butthurt about that situation in the movie. It suited the movie really well, actually. But all the comic people hated it, and I get it. I mean, but as the Taskmaster, I thought the Taskmaster was awesome when the mask was on. I was in, so I actually like to see more of that personally. But
nobody was disappointed until the mask came off.
Yeah, right? That's true. And I will say, because I've heard some people be like, "Oh, you're not a feminist." No, I have 5 sisters, man. So I grew up with like all that. I believe in equality and all that.
You truly
don't care that it was a woman. I'm just saying when I've been, my life reading comics and things like that, I was expecting like the true Taskmaster. I wasn't expecting this twist that they went that route. That's it. That's where my disappointment.
They changed the storyline for the character. And that was the big deal, right? When the mask was unveiled and the storyline was revealed to everybody, that was what let people down. I don't think it was that it was a woman, or at least it wasn't for me. And so, Chris, I don't mean to cut you off. Are you all set on what you were saying? Or
go for it, Jake. Yeah, go.
I'm gonna say that I like the book as well. And I like that it's coming down because, again, it's one of those characters I want to have in the PC, which it's a little bit different, right? I think you're asking if it was a failed spec. I think you have to probably look at it as a little bit of a failed spec right now, simply because so many, I mean, whether we, 4 people like the book or not, in general, I think the comic collector world has said this was a failed spec. We're not paying for it as much anymore, and everybody's throwing their talent. But I'm gonna just say, look at what Marvel did with the Mandarin, right? They retconned the Mandarin from Iron Man 3, and they brought it in the 10
Great
rings
movie.
in Shang-Chi. I didn't mind it at all. I loved the tie-in with Shang-Chi and calling back to the Mandarin from Iron Man 3 and just the way that they fix that. I don't think that they're going to fix Taskmaster in this particular case. Like Chris said, there could be some legs with the character. The character didn't die, and there is still that. I mean, look at Winter Soldier. You have a soldier that you can program to do whatever you want. They continue to use that. That is still in the brain, and so somebody else could unveil that and continue to use the Taskmaster the way that the Winter Soldier was utilized. That's my opinion. I also just really love that cover. I want that cover in my long-term PC collection. I gotta have it. Number 195 can go to hell. I don't care. So
no love.
I mean, this is another one like kind of like the Micronauts 8 in that it had a premium value before anything ever happened with the movies. So it's kind of more like leveling off back to, pre-Black Widow prices. And yeah, like, it is a great cover. It's definitely one that, I would like to have in the PC too. And Jake really hit the nail on the head. Marvel, they went back, they fucked up with Mandarin really badly in Iron Man 3. And they went back and they kind of changed course on it. And they actually made it, pretty interesting. It was a successful alternate take on the Mandarin the second time around. So yeah, there's a chance that they'll definitely do something similar with this character. Maybe not to the extent that they went with the Mandarin, because Taskmaster is not quite the same level of villain as the Mandarin. But showing up in Thunderbolts, Dark Avengers, something like that, getting another storyline that kind of redeems the character, I could see it happening. So if we can get it for prices that were pre-Black Widow movie, yeah, it's probably a safe pickup, and it's already something that has an established premium value that's worth having in a PC anyway.
So right now for Dark Avengers, we've got John Walker, we've got
spoiler.
There's no way it's gonna be Dark Avengers. Spoiler.
We got Yelena, right? And that's it so far, I think. Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
Nothing official yet, but
no, but I mean, like for what that Allegra character is trying to get, those two characters, like we didn't see her come for that Taskmaster bot or whatever, right? So I mean, the possibility is there. The character did not die. We'll see what happens. It's just interesting if that is the route, that they get one male, two females right off the bat. Again, nothing wrong with females or anything like that. Anybody who thinks that way, I mean, I got 5 sisters. I had to open the door for all of them, and before we got into a car, I had to open the car doors for all of them. So feminism, equality, all that stuff, I don't care. But
you're selling yourself a little too much.
Well, I'm right, saying, you never know, man. You never know. You're on the internet and people are like, oh, that newbie guy, he's
an asshole.
It's like, wait, what? I don't hate women at all. Really quickly before we get into the last book, Chris, for those people that don't know anything that goes on in your channel, you want to just let them know really quickly before we get to the next book?
I am Vancouver comic junkie. Come by, take a look at my books. I just show up books. I have a video dropping probably this weekend, so
nice.
I might throw one of these guys up there too if they want to join. So I went to a Comic-Con this weekend and bought like a massive.
As we all did.
Yeah. So it's time to have some fun. Anyway.
And you're still holding that Eerie comic for me, right, Chris?
You mean this one?
Ooh.
Yeah. You said I could buy that off you, right?
Yeah, for what? 200? No,
no.
I got it for $7.
Jesus, man. Yeah. Jesus.
That's mint too. This looks like a 9698 candidate. It's crazy.
Everybody always said, newbie, I got to go where you live. I'm always saying I got to go to Vancouver because like that's where all the deals.
No. You just have to have my eyes.
Nah, that's.
Jake, really quickly before we get to the last book, let the people know where they can find you and what you do, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Omega_Red, READ, is where you can find me. But I co-host a comic book podcast called Spec Tales. We are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and we focus on telling Grail tales. We tell the stories about collecting the books that everybody loves. Last week, we actually had Martin Marazzo, the artist responsible for Ice Cream Man. He was on there. He was fantastic. I loved talking to him. And he told his own personal Grail tale, which was actually about a family heirloom, about a book from the 1950s in Argentina his grandfather helped put together about the history of comic books. And that book is what made him want to become a comic book artist. And so it's been passed down from family member to family member. So he has it now, and that was really cool. But we tell our own tales. This week we have a pre-code horror comic book Grail tale, which was submitted by one of our listeners. It drops every Wednesday. You can find that, like I said, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. But we focus on telling stories about collecting comics. So, and we always drop like speculation as well throughout the comic or the podcast. So, thanks.
Yeah, I would advise everybody to go check that out. I myself and Chris have actually been on that show. Chris was on the second episode. I think I was on the 8th or 10th.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, actually, probably 8th. That sounds about right.
Somewhere right there. I don't get a medal. I don't even get a participation ribbon. Jake was like, "Man, can you come on?" So, but we had a lot of fun.
Great too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. All the episodes have been great. So make sure you guys go check it out. Like you said, there's a lot of outlets where you can listen to it. So make sure you guys go check in. And Face, where can the people find you? What are you doing on YouTube, sir?
Every Monday night, you can find us over on Comic Kingpins doing the Previously On show at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, every other Sunday and Tuesday, you can find me on the Newbie show.
And that's it. Yeah, he's got a giveaway going on as well. So he always forgets to mention that. So make sure you guys go sub up. Make sure you guys go sub up. He's got a giveaway going on. So yeah, so that's the information for all my guests. Make sure to follow all of them on Instagram as well. Vancouver Comic Junkie, Omega Reed, and Omega Red. I was looking at Chris when I said it, and Chris always says that.
I know.
and FaceTime. So yeah, but guys, thank you so much for hopping on, and let's get to the last book. Here we go. We've got Avengers 684, first appearance of Immortal Hulk. This spiked last winter, going into the spring this year. Now it's on the down low. It's on the dip. So a 9.8 just recently sold for $178 Canadian, which is a drastic drop from the $350, $400 it was going.
Well, first of all, I like that you wrote it Immoral Hulk.
Oh, God damn it.
I want to see that character.
God damn it.
Because you imagine the Hulk.
He's way more interesting than the Immoral Hulk.
Oh, yeah. It's like a hustler thing. Yeah.
God damn it. I take back every nice thing I said about you on the show already.
But I'm being a dick. I actually really like this book. I think it's great. I think it's just a phase of I don't know the future of this character or anything like that, other than I enjoyed this run. I'm a huge Hulk fan, and Hulk goes through phases over the decades, and this is a really strong one. And if you're a collector, it's a great book to own. It just is a great book, and I think it'll slowly go up over the years as just being that. But I can't imagine any big, huge explosions on this book, or them using him in the movies or anything like that. But then crazier things can happen. So, but I personally would grab this book if you can get it for cheap. They're really cheap right now, like 178 Canadian for a 9.8. Really?
Yeah, that's insane.
Sure. Yeah, why not? So yes, thumbs up.
Jake, what do you think about the book?
I like this book, although I will fully acknowledge I think that the Hulk has a lot of undervalued, underserved covers. Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously Hulk #1, there, the Silver Age, some early Silver Age Hulk, but then the rest of the Hulk gets like muddied, right? Like you have Hulk 102 when they reset the storyline, and nobody buys that book for some damn reason because it's not a #1 and that was 1969 or something like that. And then you just go down the line, and the Hulk has a lot of undervalued books, but they keep going through different iterations of the Hulk. The Immortal Hulk. What's the latest one that just came out? There's
Face.
Let's see, the last variant of the Hulk. I'm trying to think. Maybe World.
They ended Immortal Hulk, right? They ended it, what are they going into now?
Just I don't know. I think they're just calling it Hulk. I think it's the new run.
And well, in for whatever reason, I don't know if it seems like it's a long-standing trend with the Hulk, though, that these books just don't get the same value as some of the other, big, new firsts or things like that. In this particular case, I think that Immortal Hulk is an undervalued version of the Hulk. I think it's a good book to have. I wouldn't mind having a copy. That said, I don't think I'd go out of my way. I don't know, like failed spec. I never knew this was a huge spec to begin with. I think it's just always just been a collectible that if you're a Hulk person, you're buying it, and if you're not, you probably don't own it. So, sorry, it's a kind of a cop out answer, but it's just kind of a weird.
No,
Hulk
it's
is
real,
weird.
though.
Hulk is really weird to me, and
Yeah.
it spans the history of the character.
Same.
Yep.
Because Hulk 181 isn't collectible for the Hulk.
Nope.
It's not like, and it's one of the most notable Hulk books.
If
Right?
anything, it just helps the character. But yeah, like you said, it has nothing to do with him. It's not popular because of him. It's just
Well,
this
it's like
title.
it's like Thor, the Thor books from the '60s. They're all really reasonably priced outside of the major keys, and they're beautiful books. Hulk is the same way. They're all just gorgeous covers by different characters. If you really wanted to just collect Silver Age beautiful books, and Bronze Age, frankly, and not break the bank, there's your run. Go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because it's not really like there's nothing that really stands out as far as how it would have relevance in like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, other than maybe mentioning Immortal, the Hulk. Nothing in the cinematic universe is really going to make this book spike too much. So it's more one of those ones that's kind of like it's gained value just on the fact that it was a pretty huge plot point. And Hulk, obviously was always immortal. This is just kind of, I hate labeling it when the way they label it, first appearance of Immortal Hulk. I guess it's more like it just kind of confirmed that he's immortal, because it's not a different character. It's not like, it's not even like a uniform change or anything like that. It's just kind of like a plot point where they just came out and they're like, you know what? Yep, the Hulk's immortal. He's just not going to die. He's just going to keep coming back, and that's really where it's all the value for this book has accumulated over the years that it's come out. So it is cool if you're a Hulk fan and everything like that. But as far as spec for the MCU or anything, there's pretty much none there. But it is a cool book to own, and
Do you guys remember the show Digimon?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that was a little bit different than Pokemon, obviously. They basically evolved, but they could go back in stages. So you basically had Agumon become Greymon, who became Greymon became Super Greymon or Metal Greymon, and then became Super Metal Greymon. So like the name was just amazing how they just did that. For whatever reason, I always think of that and Hulk, because anytime there's anything with Hulk, it seemed like this book was around the same time that Yellow Hulk came out in that like kids book and things like that. And then the running joke was like, okay, is this what's going to happen with Hulk? Like we get an orange one or color change or things like that. So I don't know. I've never really been the biggest Hulk fan ever. And I've been going to a shop that has like a 11-foot statue of him, like massive, and people take pictures with it all the time. I just never got the appeal. I don't know. I just remember when this book spiked, everybody was going crazy for it. Everybody was trying to scramble again, like any book, right? People just scramble to get it. I never got the, not FOMO. I just didn't really understand it. And then even when this book kind of found its way to me at a cheap price, I was just like, no. So I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with you guys. I know, Jake and Face, you guys said you guys would want it in your PC. I think I could do without this one. I don't know. But again, I mean, if you're a Hulk fan, obviously you want it. It is cheap enough now, so why not get it? But yeah.
I just want to add, put a part of the PC thought for me. Seriously, I know that when this book came out, does everybody remember everybody's LCS got a giant, massive poster, right? I feel like they sent a giant poster to every LCS in the country that was just huge. And so you walk into, half the LCSs in the country and you're going to still see this poster hanging on the wall or somewhere. I know my local LCS still has it. It's got, Hulk's mug right there, right on the damn door. And maybe it's just because they wanted to make this a iconic looking cover or an iconic style cover that people want. There's some interest in that, in just the cover for it. But that said, I'm not seeing an argument that makes it, that I don't know why people are specking on it.
Yeah.
Not to go crazy out of it, but you catch it in a dollar bin or something like that. Sure, why the hell not?
I don't know if you can find this one in dollar bins.
Oh, no, I agree. You're not probably finding it in a dollar bin, but you see it for, $10-15. I'd probably pick that up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from the cover, or if you're a Hulk fan. I just never could get on it. Even when it found its way cheap enough to me, I just didn't know. Yeah. Well, guys, that's the show. That's all the books that we had to talk about today for what you guys thought was failed, delayed, or would be a hold in spec. So I appreciate you guys coming on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, for sure. Face, as always. I appreciate your insight. Usually we don't see eye to eye on some of the books. Tonight, I think we did pretty well.
Yeah, not too bad.
Yeah, I think once BC and Hyper aren't here, we kind of tend to agree more. So I don't know. It's maybe something to look into. But yeah. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks for hopping on, guys, and everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys heard these guys talk about where you can find them, their platforms, what they do, their shows, and things like that. So make sure, again, Vancouver Comic Junkie on Instagram. He's got unboxings. I definitely recommend you checking them out because he gives you information. And when he shows the book or he talks about a book, he actually has it in his hand. He actually has multiple copies. So usually you just get people talking about a book. He's got it in his hand and giving you information. So make sure you guys go tune in. Jake, Wednesdays on Spec Tales with Jesus. Make sure you guys go check out that. All the previous episodes on Apple Podcasts. And Face, he will be joining me in the Newbieverse Sunday and Tuesdays, 9:35 p.m. Eastern. But you can find him and the Comic Kingpins Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. So great show, guys. I appreciate it. But some of us, newbie, has a curfew. So we are getting out of here. Remember, guys, some books are cheap enough. They're still out there. You just got to look. Later, guys.
Peace.